Welcome to LFC Transfer Hub News Live with Alexander Isak, Arne Slot, Jeremy. Arne Slot believes Liverpool's visit to Newcastle United on Monday night will be one of the most difficult challenges his team will face all season. The Reds' second fixture of the new campaign takes them to St James Park to face Eddie Howe's Magpies, who finished fifth in the 2024-25 Premier League standings and thereby qualified for the Champions League. Slot previewed his side's trip to Tyneside by attending a press conference at the AXA Training Centre on Thursday. Read a roundup from it. On what he expects from Newcastle on Monday night. I think if you go to Newcastle, you know what to expect. We played them 3 times last season and twice their intensity levels were above ours. In the away game, especially in the first 60 minutes, they were so intense and fully deserved to have the lead. In the League Cup final, they were more intense than us as well. So, I don't think they need anything to add for them to be intense if they play at St James Park. Apart from the intensity, it's a very good team. They have also a team that can make it a fight, if you want to call it like this. They have players for this, but they also have players that are so comfortable on the ball. So, one of the best teams in the league and one of the most difficult away games you can have in the season, especially as you say here, under the lights. On how important the return of Ryan Gravenberch will be on the team's solidity, I think a lot. At least if he is the same player as he was last season, that could help us a lot. If you just simply look at the second goal we conceded against Bournemouth, they could just go from one side from the 18-yard box to the other side without being attacked, which was smart because Virgil van Dijk and Ibu Kane needed to go back because it was a 4 versus 2 situation. I think if you look back at last season and every time single he played, Ryan would have been in that position, and for him not being there and us playing with very good players but very attack-minded players that hurt us in that goal, for example, and that wasn't the first time where we lacked a player in that position on a counterattack for the other team. Normally, if he brings his normal level, it would definitely help us to have him back again. On having extended time to train with the players between games. It is helpful, but we did have a good preseason. We had 6 weeks compared to last season when we only had 2. We had 6 weeks as well, but only 2 with most of the players, so we've had our time to train already, and I think that is also what you could see in the Bournemouth game, because if you look at the data and running stats, it was the most intense game that was played at the weekend. That tells you our match fitness is where we want it to be and where we need it to be if you want to go to Newcastle, by the way. It is also clear in preseason I changed up lineups, and then it is normal that you see every time the right connection between some players or some lines. That was already very good against Bilbao and okay to good against Palace and Bournemouth. On the substitutions he's made this season, most changes I've made in the game are due to match fitness and players who were not available in the whole preseason. So Hugo Ekitike, for example, that I took off twice, needs to make a step from Bundesliga to the Premier League and missed out a part of preseason, and you want to keep him fit for the upcoming games, weeks, months as well. It's the same with Alexis Mac Allister, who was not able to start, in my opinion, yet against Palace, but I think he needed playing time. It's the same why I started him against Bournemouth. Was he already on the top of his level? No, but to get there he needs playing time. So I had to take him off. We've just spoken about Jeremy Frimpong, who comes from a different league. So you sometimes need to take this into account, although that's sometimes difficult for a fan or a pundit because they are like, you need to win this game. Yeah, we need to win this game, but we need to keep them fit for the rest of the season as well. And we do have players on the bench that are equal to the ones that start, so then you need to use your squad. I see it as a coincidence that we've conceded our goals after the substitutions, but time will tell if I'm right or wrong. But on the other hand, we also scored a goal after a substitution too. By the way, from Federico Chiesa and Mo Salah. On Newcastle, I don't think they are a club with troubles. They had a very good start to the season against Villa. A good game for them. I think they were able to get more out of the game than the 1 point they got. So, it's mainly difficult because of the players they have there. Not only because of the fans, but the atmosphere is great, like it is at Anfield. So, we are used to a certain environment, but St James Park, if I just remember last season when it was an evening game as well, by the way, the atmosphere was amazing and it will be the same. But why the atmosphere is amazing is because the players can perform, they can add to the atmosphere by being as intense as they were, bringing the quality as they brought in that game. So that's going to be the challenge. The challenge is also playing in a stadium where the fans will be there for the home team, and that always helps every home team. I can tell you about us, so the last 15 to 20 minutes at Anfield, It wasn't a coincidence that we scored twice because the fans helped us in that moment of time. But if you only have fans and you don't have the players, then you can forget it. The main thing we have to be ready for are their midfielders, their last line, their three forwards, although I'm not sure, but I assume Alexander Isak is not playing from what I read in the media. But they still have Anthony Gordon as a 9, they still have Anthony Elanga as a right winger and Harvey Barnes from the left, and then Jacob Murphy isn't even playing, who was very good against us twice last season. This is the Premier League, we all have a lot of options and Newcastle have them as well. On whether he was surprised by some of the criticism after the Bournemouth game, of course that has something to do with the bar we've set, and I agree we were at some moments too open. The first goal was, I think, mainly unlucky that we lost the ball in a position we shouldn't lose it, and then we were 3 against 3, which is normally not a problem, but we had a disadvantage to our opponent. The second goal is definitely being too open. So if all your 3 midfielders are inside the box, where we were just talking about Ryan, that's too open, so I agree on that. But also the reason why we scored the 3-2, it was one of our midfielders, Curtis Jones, who arrived in the box and made it difficult for the goalkeeper. The ball fell to Federico. So, it's also who we are, but we need to find the right balance by not being too open. But that balance will be better with Ryan. Unfortunately, if you want to judge me or us, we now have to play Newcastle and Arsenal, who are normally teams that are going to be above Bournemouth in the league, so it's even harder to play against them. But with Maka being back, with Ryan in his normal position, I expect us to be even better prepared for the counterattack than we were in this 2-2 moment, because I've watched the game twice back and I don't think, apart from the 2 goals, especially the second one as a counterattack, there were many other counterattacks from Bournemouth. But if it leads to a goal, it's of course a big story. For us, conceding 2, that's too much in a home game, that's too open. On the other hand, LFC injury update. Jeremy Frimpong out, Connor Bradley back in training. Connor Bradley has returned to training, but Liverpool will be without Jeremy Frimpong until next month. Arne Slot confirmed today. Frimpong was withdrawn on the hour mark of the Reds' Premier League victory over AFC Bournemouth last Friday with a hamstring complaint. And the summer signing will be sidelined due to that issue for the upcoming matches against Newcastle United and Arsenal. Bradley, meanwhile, is back in sessions with the champions, having himself been ruled out of the FA Community Shield and clash with the Cherries. Connor trained for a few minutes with us today for the first time, head coach Slot reported, when asked about squad fitness at his pre-Newcastle press conference. The medical team was completely right about Jeremy to tell me that I had to take him off, because he is out until the end of the international break, and that happened in the game. I already said immediately after the game that it had nothing to do with how he played, but we felt he had an issue with his hamstring. And with we, I don't mean me, but the medical staff. And they were completely right. So, a good call to take him off, otherwise he would have maybe been out for longer. And we expect to have him back after the international break. Elsewhere, Joe Gomez made his return to the pitch during the second half of the Premier League opener after departing the pre-season tour with a minor injury. Slot was asked if he has any concerns about the fitness of his options for right-back. No, Jeremy has a very positive injury record. Connor has been out once or twice last season. These things happen in a season, the Dutchman replied. We only have at the moment 2 injuries. Unfortunately, it is 2 for the same position. But the good thing is some others can play in that position as well. Wada Endo played in that position for a few minutes. Dominic Soboslai already played in that position. So, there are other options we can explore. Joe Gomez is definitely one of them, but for him to play already 20 minutes, that was already quite a lot. I wouldn't say he had a setback, but he wasn't able to train 3 days in a row completely with the team, which is completely normal if you're out for so long and all of a sudden the manager needs you for 20 minutes. But he is training with the team, so let's see where he is on Monday, if he can be involved in the team or if he can even start. But there are other options we have as well in this position. It's just you cannot prepare for 2 injuries in one position. It would be stupid for us to have 3 fullbacks or 5 left-backs. Although we have 3 left-backs at the moment, so we're unlucky that the right fullbacks are injured. Liverpool defender Jeremy Frimpong has been ruled out until after the September international break. Liverpool boss Arne Slot said, "The medical team was completely right about Jeremy, to tell me I had to take him off because he's out until the end of the international break. I think I got criticized a bit by taking him off. The medical staff felt he had an issue in his hamstring. Good call to take him off, otherwise he might have been out for longer. We expect to have him back after the international break. Connor Bradley returned to training with the first team on Thursday, while Joe Gomez is another right-back option in the squad. But Slot said he has not played a lot of minutes, raising doubts about his ability to start. Connor played for a few minutes with us today, for the first time, said Slot, who revealed Wataru Endo and Dominic Soboslai could also fit in at right-back. Curtis Jones has also slotted in at right-back before for Liverpool and England. These things happen in a season. We have only at the moment 2 injuries. Unfortunately, it's 2 for the same position, added Slot. The good thing is some others can play in that position as well. Wataru played in that position for a few minutes. Dominic Soboslai already played in that position. There are other options we can explore. Joe Gomez is definitely one of them. But for him to already play 20 minutes, that was already quite a lot. I wouldn't say he had a setback, but he wasn't able to train 3 days in a row completely with the team. It's completely normal if you've been out for so long and all of a sudden the manager needs you for 20 minutes. He's training with the team, so let's see where he is on Monday, if he can be involved in the team or if he can even start. But there are other options as well. You cannot prepare for 2 injuries in one position. It would be stupid for us to have 3 fullbacks or 5 left-backs, although we have 3 left-backs. Thanks for watching. Like and comment and subscribe.